We came on foot.
We came by air.
We came over land and sea, from everywhere.
We came through snow and heat.
We came through conflict and peace.
We came from north and south,
From west and east. We came alone.
And we came together.
We came as sisters.
and as brothers.
We brought the youngest and the oldest.
Families, neighbors, and friends.
We came in tens.
We came in hundreds.
We came in
thousands.
and tens of thousands.
We were cold and we came. Nearly 80,000 participants, including children and young people, from over 170 countries, responded to the call of the Universal House of Justice in October 2008 to participate in one of 41 regional conferences around the world. They came to celebrate the accomplishments of the Bahá'í world and to plan for the work that lies ahead. Within the 2 weeks following the call, the first conference was held in Zambia. Over a period of 4 months, every weekend at least one conference, but sometimes as many as 4 took place.
It is my great joy to welcome each and every one of you to this historic conference called by the Universal House of Justice at this midpoint of the 5-year plan.
La conferencia ha estado tan genial, la parte del espíritu que se ha sentido adentro.
जब मैं ये कॉन्फ्रेंस अटेंड किया क्योंकि मेरा ये फर्स्ट टाइम है कॉन्फ्रेंस में जब मैं यहाँ पे आया तो देखता हूँ कि यहाँ पे सारे धर्म के लोग सारे जाति के लोग एक हैं.
These historic gatherings provided the opportunity for the Baha'is of the world and their friends to come together at the midpoint of the global 5-year plan. They shared their impressive achievements in community building activities, such as devotional gatherings, children's classes, junior youth groups, and study circles. They reflected and consulted upon what had been learned so far and focused on current needs and opportunities. They were inspired to arise with renewed vigor and rededicate themselves, their time, and their energy to the service of humanity. It was also a time for celebration.
Alguns de vocês viajaram 60 horas de ônibus para estarem aqui.
Most of them travel long distances to attend this conference, from a big city to rural town.
Je n'avais pas un moyen. J'ai eu le vélo qui était vraiment en désordre.
Some walked for days in intense heat to attend the conference in their region. Others were met by snowstorms. Some from areas of conflict risked their very lives to be there. Others faced the challenge of the unexpected collapse of their country's financial systems. And a few became stranded in a boat in the Caspian Sea. Yet none were deterred. With enkindled hearts and eager souls, they persevered to be there. They gathered in schools and theaters, under tents and around a temple, in parks and halls and universities.
Lusaka,
Nakuru,
Johannesburg,
Bangui,
Bangalore,
Uvira, New Delhi,
Quito, Kolkata,
Lubumbashi,
Antofagasta,
Yaoundé,
Manila,
Chicago,
Almaty,
Portland,
Atlanta,
Los Angeles,
Stanford,
Dallas,
Kuching,
São Paulo, Kuala Lumpur,
Abidjan,
London,
Toronto,
Guadalajara,
Leh,
Vancouver,
Managua,
Madrid,
Sydney,
Ulaanbaatar,
Auckland,
Pratambong,
Frankfurt,
Padova, Istanbul,
Accra,
Baku,
Kiev,
No matter how humble or elaborate the setting, the spirit, the vision, and purpose were one. How could those present, women and men, young and old, arise with fresh determination and intensify their efforts to bring the healing message of Baha'u'llah to humanity? How could they play their part in this mighty spiritual enterprise? To these historic gatherings, the Universal House of Justice sent members of the International Teaching Center as its representatives.
Beloved friends, Alawapa, it is my great joy and privilege to be part of this happy gathering of eager and consecrated servants of Baha'u'llah, and to be a witness of the series of magnificent conferences which are setting ablaze the whole world. We are becoming more and more a world-embracing community with a clear mission, objectives, strategies, methods, and instruments to advance the spiritual and material civilization in the light of Baha'u'llah's revelation. We are living a growing community, embracing people of all backgrounds, of all walks of life. in which everyone finds their place, everyone finds the space for service. We are becoming more and more a community in the learning mode, constantly acting systematically, reflecting, consulting, and trying to walk the path of service with a humble posture of learning in the process of building a new civilization. These conferences provide for us a unique opportunity to reflect on our learning and to re-clarify for ourselves some of the key concepts that constitute the bedrock of the current stage in the divine plan.
Each of the conferences provided the participants with a unique forum to share their experiences of what they have learned so far. Numerous accounts were shared about the transforming power of the community building processes in which the worldwide Bahá'í community is engaged.
As I left for university, I met my first Bahá'í. This friend, in fact, began a Book One study circle in the very house that we shared with a few friends and invited me to join, but I said no. So shortly after university, this same friend and I travelled to Central America, and we served there for 6 months together. And it was here that one of the volunteers invited me to begin a Book One, and this time I accepted the invitation. I did do a lot of debating with myself before, whether I should or shouldn't, what it would mean about my faith. I went through a whole process, but thought, well, why not? Here I am. And from this moment onwards, when I started Book One, my life changed. I realized how beautiful the writings were. I began also to start feeling that there was something really captivating about Baha'u'llah. Very late in the evening, after we'd been talking more and more, I whispered to my friend that I was a Bahá'í. And it was the happiest and also the scariest moment of my life. So soon after I returned home, I began the second book in the sequence, and then was offered the opportunity to do Book 5. And I was so excited, as I really wanted to put into practice my experience with young people. So last summer, we had our first junior youth outreach project, and then promptly began a junior youth group. I co-animated this group, and just last month we finished Breezes of Confirmation.
I was going through Book One and I was saying, this seems so simple. This is so elementary. And then I realized in conversations, a kindly tongue is the lodestone. Oh yeah, okay. The betterment of the world through pure and goodly deeds. Wow, you see how it fits in everything.
I was very curious about spirituality and didn't know much about it. Book One was the first step to me exploring spirituality. I learned how to pray. This was very hard for me because I didn't understand this habit, and I had never prayed before. I learned that prayer is just like talking to someone you love. And if you love someone, then there's nothing that can stop you from talking to that person. Right after I finished my Book One, my tutor suggested that I start the devotional, but I had no idea how to host one. They suggested that they could accompany me to invite both friends and the people we didn't know yet. So I hosted my first devotional. Right now, devotional gathering has become a regular activity in my neighborhood.
Planting me go through the but act of service and through the lab blooming of Baha'u'llah. And by act of service blooming by more fruitful. Long me at me understanding of some time participate lorry. Namila conducting more study cycle because importance and significance long this study cycle alone me inspire me through.
Мы всего лишь за неделю 100 человек. Мы представили, что такое институт Рухи. И когда мы делали презентацию, представляли им, какая цель института, и как каждая из книг последовательности развивает и может развить их способности, и как они потом могут делать вклад в построение новой цивилизации. И очень многие люди откликнулись. Где-то примерно половина из них сказали, что они хотят участвовать.
When we just started book 2, they also realized something, that when you just arise to share the message with a friend, the divine confirmations are surrounding you always.
There are some new believers come in, but we really have a hard time to really consolidate them, but we still didn't understand the importance of the home visit. We kind of had an assumption that our Koreans usually feel like they feel really burdened to open up their houses, to invite people to come. So home visit is not a good strategy for Korean community. So two resource people in the cluster mobilized 15 friends of the community. We organized the home visit and we just put it into action right away. The result was really, really positive. Our fear for home visit was preconception, and those people who were visited they were feeling so cared for, and they felt loved by us.
Já que nossa comunidade era pequena, a gente tinha muito potencial, começamos a ensinar. Em um final de semana, nossa comunidade aumentou em 14 novos bahájis. Foi então que a Assembleia Local tomou consciência da prática do livro 2, que é as visitas aos lares. Com tantos bahájis, nós precisávamos levar para eles as visitas, os temas das visitas, né? Mas a prática do livro 2 sempre foi uma realidade distante da comunidade, porque nós nunca tivemos alguém para visitar. Sempre a gente simulava, brincava no grupo de estudo, mas nada muito concreto. Mas daí todo mundo começou a se mobilizar para fazer as visitas. E os facilitadores chamavam, mesmo aqueles que já tinham feito o livro 2 há muito tempo, para voltar e fazer as visitas, praticar o que o livro 2 nos ensina. E todos foram recebidos com muito amor por todos aqueles recém-declarados. A gente podia ver que eles tinham ansiedade por saber mais sobre a fé naquele momento. E nós conseguimos, em menos de um mês e meio, realizar a série de visitas com todos os 7 adultos da comunidade e envolver praticamente todas as crianças nas aulas baháis.
படிச்சு இன்னைக்கு நானும் புக்கு 7 வரைக்கும் முடிச்சு நானும் ஒரு டியூட்டர் ஆகி இன்னைக்கு நானும் மற்றவங்களுக்கு புக்கு 6 வரைக்கும் படிச்சு கொடுத்துருக்கேன். ஆனால் என்னோட 70வது வயதில் இவ்வளோ உற்சாகமும் ஊக்கமாகவும் இருக்கிறதுக்கு காரணம் வந்து பாபாவுல்லா சத்தியத்தை படித்து.
Emir bizden çok şeyler bekliyor ama ben neresindeyim bunun hep kendimi sorguluyordum. Ruhi tazelemelerinden sonra dedim ki ben ne yapabilirim? Önce dua toplantılarından başlayayım. Dua toplantısı yaptım ve ben bu arkadaşlarımda çok büyük değişiklikler gördüm. Duaya geldikçe benden dua kitapları istediler, aldılar. Biz evimizde de okuyoruz. Kimisi diyor ben başucuma koydum, sürekli okuyorum. Tabii bunlar bana çok mutluluk verdi, cesaret verdi.
I became Baha'i in September 2005. And it took me 2 years to go through the sequences of 7 books. My wonderful tutor, Sapa, made the classes so enjoyable that I couldn't wait for the next class. At the last day of book 7, Sapa asked me if I want to be a co-tutor with her for the book 1. I immediately knew that is the time to pay it forward. So I accepted. And we started the book 1 with the new believers, and now we are on the second book. I told Sapa, I feel like I'm not doing enough. She said, how about you help me through children's class? I told her I have no experience, but she said, don't worry about it, we'll do it together. Every time I mentioned something that I can't do it, she said, don't worry, we'll do it together. And it's been over 6 months that we are doing children's classes together too. I also have my own Ruhi study circle at my place. It was my first time I was doing service by myself without Sapa, which I called her as soon as the class was over, and as soon as she heard my voice, she said, you did it. And I was very happy.
Di ritorno da una conferenza, questo mio amico, questo ragazzo, mi ha parlato del circolo di studio. Io non avevo ben capito di che cosa si trattava, comunque insomma mi fidavo molto di questo mio amico, allora ho accettato la sua proposta. Al primo incontro del circolo di studio, questo mio amico ci si mise a sedere intorno al tavolino e lui tirò fuori un libro di preghiere. E io, un brivido mi scorse lungo la schiena, proprio per capire, io non ero assolutamente abituato a pregare, a parlare di spiritualità, di Dio, così apertamente. Le sue parole sono state: di solito noi iniziamo la nostra attività con una preghiera, no? E io, un po' spaventato, ho detto: va bene, ok, insomma. Allora ho cominciato a leggere le preghiere e abbiamo iniziato il circolo di studio. Avevo scoperto questa capacità di comunicare con Dio che prima non avevo mai sentito. Sono andato avanti con il circolo di studio e prima del termine ho deciso di dichiararmi. Avevo terminato la sequenza dei libri e tutte le persone che erano rimaste colpite dalla mia trasformazione mi hanno chiesto averne di più e con loro ho fatto la pratica del libro 7, ho aperto un mio primo circolo di studio che è andato avanti e ha avuto dei risvolti molto belli. Grazie.
The Institute process has also inspired a remarkable surge of artistic expression at the grassroots. This was reflected in a variety of moving and uplifting community performances presented at every conference.
When I got the email that they'd asked me to tell a story, the first line said, "Are you comfortable speaking in front of 3 or 4?" I thought, oh yeah, 3 or 4 is good. 1,000 people. I was going through a corridor and we're wading through kids. And a kid runs up to me and says, "Oh, do you want to speak to my mom?" And I'm like, yes I do. And so we started talking to his mom about a children's class. And right then and there, we were talking with all of the children and teaching them the song, "We Are Drops." And it was very exciting because 2 nights later, I see this group of kids go to the laundromat. And I'm thinking, are those my kids? They look like my kids. And then they come out and start yelling at me, "We are drops of one ocean. We are drops of one ocean." And I thought, they are. They absolutely are. And I started going to this neighborhood. I was uncomfortable with the neighborhood. I wasn't familiar with the neighborhood. But as we started serving there, as we started having our children's classes there, I understood what it was talking about. Blessed is the spot.
तो मैं जब यहाँ काकोरी क्लस्टर से कुछ लोग मिले और मुझे बताया कि ऐसे से ये बाहाई धर्म में कैसे क्या आया हुआ, तो मैं जब रूही 1 2 किया और 3, उसके बाद 3 में मैं कर रही थी तो कुछ मित्र ने बताया कि ये बहुत अच्छा है, उत्साह मुझे दिया और अच्छी तरह से बताया कि किस किस तरह हमें बच्चों को क्लास चलाना चाहिए, कैसे कैसे क्या करना चाहिए। इस तरह मेरे अंदर भी उत्साह हुआ कि मैं कुछ करूं और मुझे कुछ भी अनुभव मिले और सीख मिले, क्योंकि बच्चों को भी सीख मिले, साथ में टीचरों को भी सीख मिलती है।
So we've learned that community building doesn't start from like a country or a city or a suburb, but it starts at the level of the neighborhood. This children's class was held once a week, but there was something wasn't right about this children's class. So we sort of reflected and then we ensured that we were running exactly how Book 3 was set, and all the approaches, so not only just the lesson plans, but also following the progress of the children and working with the parents to make sure that we develop the spiritual qualities of these children together. We noticed that the nature of our conversation with the parents were changing as well. And what's happened is that now all the parents are actively involved and in going around inviting other parents, dispelling fears and explaining the nature of the class as well. One thing that we experienced is as we focus on the quality of the classes, the quantity grew. What we see now is that these children classes are these centers of attraction. It actually has started to change these patterns of community life.
My son and my nephew started playing football in front of our house, and they had quite a number of friends, numbering about 10. So we decided, as a response to Book 3, to start children classes with their friends. We've been running this for 7 years, so we actually have junior youth, and we have about 15 of these children who have moved from children classes to junior youth. We also have had one person who just walked into the house one day and told us, "Oh, I've been seeing children come into your house, and I want to know what they come to do." And he has gone through Ruhi Book 3 and is now a teacher in the class.
Our learning is that we can always look at the needs of the neighborhood. And then we can offer the service that complies with the needs of the neighborhood. We looked at our block of flats because there were many mothers with children. And there was this interest. We started a children class. We were a little bit scared. We didn't have any experience with children classes. We prepared small invitations and we visited or met mothers that are living in our block of flats. We invited them to a meeting where we explained what the children class will be about. We said we would learn prayers with children, we would sing songs, we would learn about qualities, talk about love of God, stories, games, and so on. And the mothers were very interested in such a program, and 8 children registered to our children class.
When my husband and I heard that the House of Justice has asked us to set up local children's classes. With no training behind us, we started. If there was a quality that we clung to, it was faith and trust that we were doing the right thing. 5 years later, and it's all in here. In summary, the Training Institute process has brought us from one centralized children's class of 6 Baha'is to a class of 4, 5 and 6-year-olds, a class of 5, 7 and 8-year-olds, a class of 7 junior youth, and study circles with 11 community of interest of different religious backgrounds engaged in one or more activities.
I was first introduced to the Bahá'í faith by two Bahá'í friends, and they told me about the junior youth group that was being started up and said I should come check it out. I was really confused what was happening in the junior youth program. I felt more like a junior youth than a potential animator. At first, I thought that the program would not be as effective because the junior youth would think that books are for school. But then with time, I realized that the book gives the program a purpose. An example of this is that we had a junior youth that went up to his teacher and told him about the junior youth program. And then he said that he's reading the book called Breezes of Confirmation. And the teacher asked, "What does confirmation mean?" And the junior youth replied, "When we want to do something, we make an effort, and God confirms us." I was really inspired and liked the junior youth program. When we planned the first service project, I realized how much potential the junior youths had in serving the community.
Quand j'ai fini d'étudier le livre 5, comme j'avais un club de poèmes et ils avaient l'âge de 12, 13 ans, j'ai ouvert un groupe pour très jeunes. Au début, c'était très difficile. Il n'y avait pas la collaboration entre eux. Peut-être qu'ils pouvaient faire des questions qui doivent répondre vrai ou faux. Taïré qui dit vrai, Vaïd qui me dit non. Pourquoi non? Parce que Taïré dit vrai. En fait, c'était très difficile. Alors un jour, je me suis fâchée, je les ai chassés tous. Alors, je suis rentrée chez nous. Je me suis dit, mais c'est quelle sorte d'enfant? J'ai prié Dieu. Et je ne sais pas comment ça s'est arrangé, ça c'était un miracle. Mais aujourd'hui, c'est vraiment un club, il y a l'amitié, c'est tout ce que moi j'ai appris. Eux, il faut juste être leur ami. Il faut qu'eux sachent que vous êtes leur confidence. Quoi qu'ils fassent, ils savent que j'ai quand même quelqu'un qui doit m'entendre.
We really wanted to serve the Aboriginal community. Eventually, we established a very close relationship with two of the families. And that multiplied as we were introduced to their families and their friends that lived in the building and within the neighborhood. It's been a year and a half, and since we began this, there's about 20 families that we are involved with at least over 100 people that we are interacting with, all based on these core activities. It's a community that's now based on service, that's based on the activities of children and junior youth. We went to talk to one of the junior youth and her mother. We explained the scope and the purpose of the program, and the mother told us that she was so happy with the growth in her daughter that she sees now that not only is her daughter able to stand up at school when she's bullied, but she stands up for other children as well. So with her support, the mother's support, the following week there were 10 young girls coming to the group. And since then, every week there are more and more that are coming because they are inviting their friends. They're so eager. The girls come to our house. Sometimes, actually, we came home on Wednesday. School gets out at 1:40 for them. And we came home around 3 o'clock. The group starts at 4. And we found a group of 6 girls sitting in the hallway of our apartment building. How they got in, we don't know. But they had been waiting there since 1:45, waiting for this group to happen. They were so excited. So being a part of this new neighborhood, this new creation that's focused on service is truly a blessing.
Il y a beaucoup de projets qui ont des capacités et des potentiels. Si on les laisse seulement comme ça, ils vont s'embarquer dans tout ce monde matériel. C'est pour ça qu'on a aussi engagé, on a décidé de former un groupe de jeunes. Dans le regroupement, on on avait moins de groupes de projets. Ça fait en sorte que, avec cet enthousiasme à la fin de formation, on a pu créer 22 groupes de projets jusqu'à aujourd'hui et les participations 1200.
On the last day of the conferences, participants gathered in workshops to evaluate the needs of their localities. They consulted about the actions required to intensify and multiply their efforts to contribute to the development of their communities.
Everyone has a part to play.
They discussed how to meet the pressing issues of providing spiritual education for children. They consulted about how to channel the energies of junior youth and empower them to contribute to the well-being of society. They made plans to create more gatherings for collective worship and explored how to increase the capacity of every individual through the sequence of institute courses to serve their communities.
Okay, who wants to help with the junior youth?
They took time to reflect. How could they contribute individually to this process? They were eager and determined to serve the needs of society and pledged to sacrifice their time and resources.
"79 friends have pledged to help other friends strengthen their core activities or start them or accompany them."
135 amigos se levantaram para abrir reuniões devocionais.
33 livre 5, 53 livre 4 et 143 livre 1.
The children at the conference have decided the first activity we can help in is devotional meetings. We have pledged to have 56 devotional meetings, 52 new classes.
Çocuk sınıflarına yardım etmek 10 kişi.
Yeni gençlik grubu oluşturmaya yardım etmek 5 kişi.
34 vogliono in futuro aprire delle classi per bambini.
E 60 giovanissimi partecipano a un gruppo giovanissimi.
Once we go back, 10 new study circles will start.
Así que tenemos la esperanza de tener
Thousands in total committed to complete the next book in the sequence of courses. Tens of thousands pledged to initiate devotional gatherings, home visits, children's classes, junior youth groups, and study circles. Thousands offered to travel to other communities to be of service, and thousands more decided to move their home to another place altogether in order to assist with the process there. The 41 conferences encouraged the participants to focus systematic attention on 1,500 clusters of localities where intensive programs of growth are being established. Programs which better equip Bahá'í communities to respond to the spiritual and material needs of society. The participants discussed how to further systematize their efforts to share the message of Baha'u'llah with their families, friends, neighbors, and others, offering to ever-growing numbers of people the opportunity to work together to build a new world. The conferences demonstrated that as the Bahá'í community expands and grows, its activities multiply and strengthen, creating a rich and vibrant pattern of life that reflects the teachings of Baha'u'llah. These activities, which welcome and embrace all people, provide a coherent approach to consolidating the Bahá'í community, benefit the wider society, and ultimately contribute to the advancement of civilization. Through the exchange of learning and the increased understanding that was generated, these extraordinary gatherings gave a significant impetus to the advancement of the work in the 1,500 clusters around the world.
be present at this regional conference called by the Universal House of Justice will be something we never forget.
En tout cas, je ne sais pas comment exprimer ma joie, mais je vois déjà un grand travail devant moi qui m'attend en tant que baháyi.
La conferencia ha creado un espíritu diferente en todos los participantes, sino también por saber que ahora estamos trabajando como región para lograr una meta más grande.
Now she is 100% sure that one day the unity in the world will become the reality.
If you stop and multiply times 40 what we have felt this weekend, we begin to have the smallest idea of what is transpiring around the world for these entire 4 months. Each of us has only one life on this earthly planet. To be able to give our very best to the Blessed Beauty and to the beloved House of Justice during these fleeting years that we are here is truly the desire in each of our hearts.
We were called, and we answered.
We came, and we arose to serve.